you remember the wall being built?
Well, I was there when the wall was being built, but we had friends that were behind the wall. Fortunately, they were both doctors, and so they got good treatment because they were needed. If you weren't needed, then you weren't treated all that well. You know, there were some of them in East Berlin, and then those people that tried to escape, of course, had no luck. And until the wall was down, we would go travel to one of the fences that they had built up. The wall was in Berlin. In the countryside where we were, it was just a fence. But even when I was an adult, to look over that fence, that was like day and night. The houses weren't painted, everything was dilapidated. And between the fence and these were the Russians. There was a zone where all the trees were gone, and there were mines in the ground so that nobody would want to escape. And all along the fence were towers with guards with guns that would shoot if somebody wanted to get across and get to West Germany.
It even was unsafe just to even be near the wall.
Yeah.
The wall.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it all made it look all so desolate and awful, you know.
Have you been back since the wall has been down?
Yeah, I have been back, and now you can't tell any longer. You know, it didn't take long for the people to normalize and have shops where you can actually find food or clothes. Because over there they stood in line to get a loaf of bread on the east side. You know, on the west side, everything recovered quickly. But they worked very, very hard. It was a miracle of how West Germany recovered. And of course it was with the help of the Americans and, well, the French and the English too. But the Americans were very generous, and they were very generous to us when things were bad. People would do laundry for some of the soldiers, and the soldiers would reward them with candy bars and cigarettes. It wasn't money, so but they could take cigarettes and go to the black market and
Trade.
Yeah.
Because they also didn't have lots of money either.
Yeah.
But they traded what they did have.
Yeah.
And didn't you tell me that was like a big treat to get a candy bar?
Oh my gosh, yes. And at the first day, I remember I was separated from my mother when the soldiers, American soldiers came in on their tanks, because my mother had my brother in a baby carriage. The baby carriage had supplies in a phony bottom, you know, salami and dry milk, some money. So that we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know whether the town would retaliate or not, because there were some crazy people left.
Ready to go, no matter what.
Yeah. And so she had left something in the house, so she said to me, go in the bunker. And the bunker was across the street from us, where they had converted a school, a seminar, into a hospital. And then the bunker was below the professors' residences. So that was safe because it had vaulted ceilings, which most private houses didn't. And so it was safer. And we went in there, and I sat on the bench with lots of people, and my mother couldn't come. She didn't make it across the street. She had to go back into the house. And then the Americans came, and the first tank was greeted by a professor and his wife who were a little bit eccentric, and they threw their arms up and shouted, "Our saviors are here. We are free. And they didn't know what they were saying, of course, these American soldiers. And they started shooting.
Oh.
They turned the tank and shot into the yard. And there were two people that were carrying milk for the hospital. And they were just barely missed. So, and that got everybody upset. So, not knowing what was going on outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I was all alone. But I was lucky because my sister, who was 16, and she was learning to be a physician's assistant. And so she had gone to school for that. It was private, she wasn't finished. But they called her to help out in the operating room of this hospital. No anesthesia. No. We donated whatever little bit of canned food or canned something, peaches. It was mostly fruit and not food, you know, because that was what's left. Excuse me. And we had taken that over there. Mattresses, no beds. And she worked there. And they had tools that came out of our garages, sterilized just with alcohol, and amputating legs and arms and what have you. Then she run home, have a cup of peppermint tea, and then she'd go back. She was 16 years old. Yeah, and I was 8. You know, those were tough times. You can't imagine it. It's, you know, the good thing about it is that everybody's in the same boat, so you're not singled out for anything. You know, when I came to school in grandfather's boots, there was nothing because, you know, others wore same funny stuff. We made clothes out of blankets and
flour sacks and potato bags and
everything.
Blankets. And
I was very lucky because in small town, you know, people live differently. So my grandmother's trunk in the attic was a treasure chest. We found old dresses with big skirts, and that made things for 2 or 3 people, you know. The blankets came from the Americans. Now you know what they look like, right? They're that yucky green, itchy, scratchy. Wool. Yeah. We dyed them and then made winter coats out of them.
Hey,
yeah,
works.
But they were still scratchy because it was so thick and so.
Yeah.
But it worked, kept us warm. But I don't know. Anything else?
Oh, you covered a lot. Thank you very much.